Target and the controversial Pride collection is reportedly now cutting into profits. Meantime, JP Morgan tightening the belt after taking over First Republic's. Two stories we wanted to get the take of from Tomas Philipson. He's the former chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. Thomas, welcome back to National Report. Let's start with Target, shall we? Because we know there are Target shoppers out there who have paid a lot of visits to the store and maybe spent a lot of money there in the past. I'm guilty of it. But there's been some controversy of the retailer. It has to do with the Pride collection of clothing and houseware items. Now some shoppers aren't responding well to maybe some of the messages being sent out there, and the retailer has actually decided to remove some of the items for fears of their employees' safety. But now there are reports that $9 billion has been lost from the company following all of this controversy here. Talk to me about Target stock, what you're seeing.
Yeah, so this is a lesson that companies should focus on their profits, not on politics. And whether those politics are conservative or liberal, they should stay away from it. There's actually a deeper reason here, because once the management focus on political issues, which they're certainly free to do, they just shouldn't do it with company money, because when they do that, they rob the shareholders of their right to use the company money to focus on their political agenda. So instead of paying dividends of $9 billion now to shareholders, and they could have donated that to any liberal or conservative cause they want, the corporate management have now stolen that from the shareholders to focus on their political agenda. So it's always a bad idea for companies management to try to take on the role of what shareholders should do with their money. The alternative to corporate sort of donations is dividends, and that's the right way to do it, because then the shareholders can donate to anyone they want.
Yeah, Thomas, was this avoidable? I think is a big question. When you're talking about $9 billion, that's a lot of money. Was this situation avoidable? Do you link this solely to people unhappy with Target? And again, not only the clothing and the messaging they're offering, which we showcase, but a lot of folks, again, upset that a lot of it was geared towards children's clothing. Was this avoidable?
Yeah, clearly, since Budweiser did what they did, there's a lesson to be learned here. Whether the causes are conservative or liberal, they should stay away from these kind of issues, because essentially shareholders or customers can make up their own mind what they want to do, what political causes they want to support. They don't need the management of these companies to spend their money in a one-size-fits-all manner on their political causes. And that's the problem, I think, for when companies engage in these things, whether they're conservative or liberal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, we'll
like
see,
Light, yeah.
see the overall impact of what it might have. Again, these companies, especially as a Pride month, the month of June, is quickly approaching. So no doubt there will likely be more stories to follow up on. Let's pivot now to JP Morgan. The decision to take over First Republic Bank, of course, we recall all of those bank failure headlines. Well, now we're learning that JP Morgan's first order of business, laying off 1,000 employees and closing some of those First Republic branches. The bank reportedly telling investors this week that buying First Republic is already paying off, and it expects its net interest income to rise by $3 billion this year. So what's behind the layoffs and what's behind these moves?
Yeah, I think it would be actually surprising if they did not lay off some First Republic employees. So First Republic constituted about 3% of JP Morgan's deposits, a very small share. But their number of employees, 7,000 roughly, is about 3% of JP Morgan's worldwide workforce. So it's a much larger share of the U.S. workforce where all the deposits are concentrated. So it would be kind of surprising if they didn't have to shed some of these workers, essentially, given the amount of deposit they got in the deal. Also, mobile banking is getting these guys more redundant, the regional banks. You don't need to go into the bank anymore like you used to. And on top of it, we have a huge sort of credit squeeze right now, which means less works for the bank. So I think, particularly regional banks. So I think, it wouldn't be surprising if this did not happen more than that it happened.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Tomas Philipson joining us this morning. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.